Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Friday the 15th of September 2023. My name is Adam Lang. Every afternoon we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. So, at story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 closed up 1.3% to 7,279 points after a solid trading day. That's up over 1.7% for the week. Markets were upbeat about stronger than expected retail sales and industrial production data from China, in a sign Australia's biggest trading partner's economy may finally be stabilising. It also comes after a strong day of trading on Wall Street, following better than expected economic data in the US too. Every sector went up on the ASX over the day. Metals and mining, resources and materials led the increases. Best on the bourse was Syrah Resources, up 8.2%. BHP was up 3.5% and Fortescue Metals climbed 4%, with iron ore at its highest levels in half a year. The worst performing sector was real estate. Cromwell Property Group slipped 2.3%. Mark Bouris's home loan business, Yellow Brick Road, is going to be delisted from the ASX after more than 12 years of trading. Bouris has not commented publicly, but told The Australian the business would advise the market on Monday about the strategy for the future. The business has been under pressure. Last month, reporting earnings before tax, depreciation and amortisation had plummeted by half in 2023 to $1.2 million. The biggest IPO of the year, British chip designer ARM, has soared on its first day of the NASDAQ. Shares were up 25%. SoftBank's ARM has faced weeks of hype and is considered a litmus test for the tech sector. The next big float to watch is Instacart. Story number 2. The Chief of the Australian Defence Force, General Angus Campbell, is raising concerns about artificial intelligence, leaving people struggling to determine what is misinformation. The head of the ADF spoke to the Australian Strategic Policy Institute and raised the alarm about technological advances and their impacts on a healthy and functioning society reliant on well-informed citizens. Campbell said the Soviet Union has used misinformation campaigns to discredit the US and its allies, and Russia had used fakery online as a weapon of statecraft in the US 2016 election and during Brexit. He warned that generative AI may usher in an era where it becomes simply impossible for the average Australian to distinguish between fact and fiction. He also spoke about his concerns with climate change, saying disruption is happening faster and less predictably than hoped, and we may all be humbled by a planet made angry by our collective neglect. Story number 3. Retail and tech giant Amazon has told major Australian television broadcasters that in 3 weeks' time, it will be taking a 30% cut of their advertising revenue when someone watches them through Fire TV. Fire TV is a set-top box device owned by Amazon that allows people to access internet streaming services. The Financial Review is reporting that new terms of service say owners of apps with usage of more than 30,000 a month have to give this portion of their app-earned ad revenue back to Amazon. Broadcast lobby group Free TV CEO Bridget Fair said it was a cash grab and outrageous. Now, it's a relatively small player, up to 4% of the market, but the networks are concerned bigger manufacturers like Google might follow suit. Story number 4. New Productivity Commission research says 95% of workers are getting pay rises in line with productivity growth. This will add to a growing debate among the unions, who say there has been a fall in labour income share. However, the Commission did find Australians are about $25,000 behind in terms of real income growth because of a deterioration in labour productivity improvement since the 1990s, an era marked by significant reform and innovation. While the vast majority of industries are giving workers wage rises and sharing the benefits of rising productivity, the report did find 2 sectors where this is not the case: mining and agriculture. However, this only counts for a small portion of the workforce, though an oversized economic impact, and most workers are still seeing benefits. And finally, story number 5, the competition watchdog may step in the way of a deal between Qantas and China Eastern Airlines Corporation to continue coordinating operations between Australia and mainland China. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is warning that the 2 airlines' plans to coordinate together may breach competition laws. Qantas and China Eastern are looking to extend their passenger and cargo transport operations between the two countries until March 2024, but the ACCC said in a statement that it can only authorise the agreement if the public benefit outweighs the harm to competition, and it wasn't yet convinced. ACCC Commissioner Anna Breakey said in a statement that the airlines would gain the opportunity an incentive to jack up prices by limiting additional planes on the Sydney-Shanghai route. Right now, only China Eastern is flying directly from Sydney to Shanghai. Qantas plans to resume this route next month. The two airlines previously were granted interim authorisation to coordinate, but the ACCC says this time is different because air travel demand is likely to rise on the back of restrictions easing and a new tourism campaign kicking off in China promoting Australia. There hasn't been sufficient evidence that this coordination would lead to additional services on other routes between the two nations. The airlines are able to make additional submissions to the ACCC by early October. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 15th of September 2023. Don't forget to hit follow on the podcast and find Fear and Greed on LinkedIn, Instagram, X and Facebook. Join us tomorrow morning for the Fast 5 Weekend Edition by Fear and Greed. I'm Adam Lang. Enjoy your evening.